What is up, y'all? It is Grant with a special episode of the Groovy Files. And today I got my other man with me, Jay Trent.
What's going on, y'all?
And, and today we will be talking about Forever is a Mighty Long Time, Krit's, I would say, most critically acclaimed album. And what a lot of people consider one of the best albums of 2017, not to mention an incredible double disc album that's just extremely hard to pull off. So the biggest question I want to ask, somebody asked this on Twitter, and I was like, I can't really see like an argument against it. Is it a top 5 double disc album of all time in terms of hip hop? I don't think I can name 5 better.
You know, that's interesting because when you think about a double disc album, it's kind of a rare accomplishment because like that's it's pretty ambitious. Like you think about this album had 22 songs. So let's see. I don't even now being subjective, in my opinion, it's probably my favorite double disc album. But so for anybody that knows me, that shouldn't come
the biggest Krit fan.
Yeah, that shouldn't come as much of a surprise. But I feel like there are other acclaimed double disc albums in hip hop. Like you got Life After Death, All Eyes on Me, Wu-Tang Forever, Speaker Box, The Love Below. So, you can throw other names out there, but as far as I'm concerned, it's firmly in my top 5. I'll put it that way.
Respectfully, I think, because I would say this, and don't get me wrong, this is not a Tupac slander environment. I love Tupac, but personally, I don't view All Eyes on Me as his best. I view,
yeah, I agree with you.
Seven Day Theory as his best.
Oh, it's Me Against the World for me. But the thing about All Eyes on Me is it's got the hits on it. It's got it's got California Love. It's got Two of America's Most Wanted. So that's gonna be Ambition as a Rider. That's gonna be the album that a lot of people cling to, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let me start first. But yeah, I agree about it not being my favorite from him. But what are some other double disc albums? You got UGK self-titled, The Blueprint 2. It's a few, but when you run down the list, you don't see a lot of double disc albums, especially ones that are so well put together. Ones that it's difficult to keep a listener captivated for that long.
I think the craziest shit about the album is I listened to the first one. I listened to the first disc, and I was like, "Damn, this is great." And then if you were to tell me that the second disc was going to end up being better than the first disc, I would have called your ass crazy. Because on the first disc you got Confetti, Big Bank with T.I., Layup, Ride With Me, Come Up to Come Down, and then an incredible disc closer,
Get Away.
Disc closer with Get Away. I feel like when I think of songs that it instantly change my mood, Get Away is one of those songs. I could be having a horrible day and Get Away, come on, I'll be like, okay, it's gonna be all right. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, so for me, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but for me, the first disc of Forever is a Mighty Long Time feels like a successor to the mixtapes. It feels like a successor to Return of Forever and Forever and a Day and King Remembered in Time. Like it feels like one of those. But that second disc, he like he named it Big Krit side and Justin Scott side. And the second disc feels a lot more personal. A lot of the songs are slower. There's more emotion being showed. And I think that's what draws a lot of people to that second disc.
it feels like for the first the first disc, like the best way I can explain it is like it feels a lot like I'll do this. I'll go with this. It feels like a lot of the more. It feels like it's much more. I would say radio friendly, but at the same time, it doesn't really sacrifice anything that Krit loves to do. Like like shit like Big Bank, Layup, 1999, all the other stuff. The songs are great. Like the target goal is great for every song, and the execution is also great. And then I agree. It really feels a lot like the mixing, like Ride With Me and Get Up to Come Down. Just like that apex for Krit to be like in terms of like he talking about he UGK influence and all the other stuff. Those songs are like perfect.
Right. And I get it. It feels like the next step from the King Remembered in Time mixtape. Like Get Away feels like the successor of Multi to the Sun Die, if that makes sense. Like they have a similar feel, and they evoke a similar emotion.
Yeah, like I wholeheartedly agree. But like the second disc, I can like confidently say that I was like blown away for we're blown away from Krit with that disc. Because the thing is, like, I don't think we get. I feel like in terms of like extremely like personal stuff on Krit, I don't think we get like a full blown like a 10,000% like transparency sometimes. But like on this album, it kind of felt like, okay, I'm not talking with just the rapper anymore. I'm talking with the person and everything like that. Like, don't get me wrong, Krit has something been personal, a lot of his career and like expressing like his daily life and all the other stuff. But like this, I feel like sometimes with certain music, like you reach a level that's called like you reach a level like you can admit somebody's rapping at a high level, but then I feel like there's a level beyond that. And like that's kind of how like I'll use this for example, like how I view a lot of Outkast music. Like I don't even view it as them being elite at rapping and everything like that. I view like it's the highest form of the human connection, if I could put it that way. Like it's some songs, it's just like, damn. At the end of the day, a human being made this. Not like even thinking like in a competitive sense and all that shit, but like, damn, a black person made this. Like somebody that looks like me. Made this. And so especially in like it means a lot to me. Like Krit means so much to me because like he's from my state. Like he's from Meridian. I'm from around Jackson, Madison area. But Krit is from Meridian, and if you've ever been to Meridian, Mississippi, it's definitely like one of the bigger places in it's definitely one of the bigger places in like Mississippi, but at the same time, it's not that big. So like if you ever visited there and like heard Krit talk and like rap and like been there, you can like really put two and two together. And it's very few rappers I find as inspiring as him. Like seriously.
No,
like
yeah,
very
I think that's valid, and I feel like, you know, that's why it feels like, you know, we enjoy his music more than most. Like me being from South Georgia, which is pretty similar to the Mississippi area. It's not like Atlanta. And it's like Big Boy invokes a similar emotion. He's from Savannah. So it's people that can relate on more than just the surface level. You feel more of a connection with certain artists.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. I think it's okay to say that invokes a different emotion in you as a listener.
Yeah, it's like, bro, Krit is. I was honestly like really surprised listening. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and say this, man. Like, how you end an album with "Bury Me in Gold" is like insane.
Yeah,
I don't understand how like a human, like an actual, like I said, an actual human being made that fucking song, and I truly can't believe it. Like that's an incredible way to end. Like you, not even that, but like before that, you have like, because the stretch of music is you have Price of Fame, Drinking Sessions, The Light, and then topping off with Bury Me in Gold. Like if I had to say like if Krit, I always want to say like if Krit had ended his career right there, like that's a perfect way to end his career.
Yeah,
absolutely perfect.
Like that's a flawless ending to an album. Like it was so well done, and you could hear like for me, Drinking Sessions reminds me of the King series.
Yeah.
Like if I'm listening to King Part 3, it draws from that same energy, that same emotion. That's what Drinking Sessions like. It feels like King Part 5.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that stretch from Price of Fame to the end where he, you know, talks about his mental health and everything that you struggle with as an artist and as a public figure, like it's definitely something to marvel at.
And he's like, and like the thing like with him is the thing like him is like it's kind of like an inspiration to like especially the folks that like want to do things without like a full like a label, if that makes sense. Like folks who want to do albums and like folks that don't want to do anything with label back. Like it's honestly like, especially like hearing him announce that he wanted to do hear him announce that like he went independent, everything like that, and then after that, dropping 12 for 12, and he was killing every single beat, like the Flying Lotus, the Real Friends beat, 4 p.m. in Calabasas beat, all that shit. Having that, and then after that, what's that shit called? After that, having of course Forever Is Mine All Time, dropping in October of the following year. It just kind of, it's like, man, like viewing it on the outside, it's like one thing, but like I feel like a lot of people take for granted. I feel a lot of people treat things differently in the moment. And like when you're looking back on it, it's like, man, this is much greater than what we thought it was. I thought it was great then, but like looking at his career, like now after experiencing, like listening to Krit in high school, college, and all that other shit, looking at his career now, it's just like, damn, I wish I would have. I'm not saying I would have appreciated it more and more because I did appreciate it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, damn, I want people to understand that these type of things aren't regular, and that's one thing. That's one thing I say. Like, we too often treat rap anomalies as
normal.
the normal.
Yeah.
When it didn't be that way. Like, for instance, like when people say, well, Nas dropped Illmatic at 19 and everything like that, these other artists have no excuse. Nas is Nas is a generational rapper, bro. It's not fair to do that. Like, Outkast is a generational rapper. Like, Biggie is a generational rapper. Like, I don't like. It's not fair to do that and be like, oh, y'all should. Well, y'all ain't do this. Well, oh well. Instead of just appreciating that everybody isn't like those people are special. Like, that's it. Like, those people are special. Like, you have your not so good artists, you have your good artists, and then you have like the top tier. Like, we need to try to keep treating it as, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like Outkast started working on Southern Playalistic when he was in high school. Like, that's not normal, like you said. Like, they were doing something before they were old enough to drink that most rappers have never accomplished. And it's like
it's kind of like that. Once again, I hate making NBA comparisons in music, but I feel like it's relevant because I'm mad at this because I did one yesterday when I was recording with Donovan, but I'll put it like this. For example, like when you critique like a great player, like for instance LeBron or something like that, or like people talk about, oh, well, how people treat role players in the NBA. People expect much more out of them than what they actually can do, because you see the greatness in like the best players in the league, and people kind of think that's the norm when it isn't. So, like, for example, like if you dropping 25 points a night, that's not normal. Right. There is very few human beings in history that can do that on like a high level, on the highest level in the world every single night. Like,
right.
So like with rap, like for instance, like how we treat, and I feel like it kind of plays into a factor of how like people treat like the music landscape right now. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, all this music sucks and everything like that. I think although the critiques aren't
without merit,
without merit, it's kind of like y'all thinking everybody can be like superstar level, and it's just not realistic. It's just not like the super high talent that you think that you want consistently isn't as normal as you think it is. Like, for example, like drop periods in music always happen, and like I think for this one it just happened on a mainstream level, not on an overall level. Because for the underground, like I mean, like I'm getting what I want out of them. Like the mid-level artists, I'm getting what I want out of them. It's just like on a superstar level or like a mainstream level, I can see why people think that. But segue back, we have to kind of just treating like the blog, like I was saying, like the blogger too. Like a lot of those guys aren't normal. You're talking about people that were making classic level projects at a very young age, and we're getting cosigns from established legends at that point. Like Krit was getting cosigns from, Krit getting cosigns from his predecessor, well, UGK.
Right. Yeah, Bun B.
And then what'd you say?
I was gonna say, yeah, like you said, it's one of those things that we do kind of take for granted sometimes. Like the work ethic and the quality of the bodies of work that artists were putting out from the blog era, even leaking into the early like SoundCloud era. Like there was like work was being done that was being co-signed by legends very early on.
Say it one more time.
I was saying like going from the blog era to the early SoundCloud era, like you got, like you said, projects from super young artists being co-signed by legends and people that they looked up to. And like the amount of work and skill that goes into that, I do feel like we kind of take for granted sometimes.
It's kind of like people don't understand, like, just not even like from people, but like in a general sense. And like, I ain't gonna say no disrespect. I mean all disrespect. It's very easy to sit back and critique something and not take into account like the amount of effort that was put into it. But also, it's like, I'll put it like this: it's already hard being like a creative, but to be something like, so to be at a high level or like a good level is like even harder. And like people kind of treat it. I always say people undervalue art. Like it's not like people always undervalue the impact of art, like specifically music. And like it's been kind of, I don't want to say it's been going on lately, but at the same time, it's kind of like people view art, people trivialize art and kind of make it feel smaller than it actually is. Like it's everywhere in life. It's important. Like without, and I said this too, like without humanities, like in general, life would be boring. Like real shit. Life would be boring as fuck. Like it would, like music, artists, movies, plays, I guess, like literature, all that shit. Like that shit matters. Like that shit matters. And like I feel like once we redirect towards back to valuing that stuff, it will mean a lot. Because like the people that kind of like, and the thing, and also like a lot of people want these things, but like don't value the people on the making end of it. Like for instance, it's just like something to, the best way I can explain it is like, it's just like, it's like fast food to some people, or like it's just like food, I guess, to some people. Like, yeah, you need it, like you need it, but at the same time, like you don't really value the person making it like that. You don't value the people that, like, for example, like service workers, like food service workers, all the other shit. I know this sounds like a wild analogy, but you kind of get where I'm going with this. Like,
I see what you're saying.
Like that's how, and I honestly that's how I feel people view like engineers, producers, like, and all that shit. Like people don't understand the amount of work and difficulty that goes into making music. So, and one thing I tried to challenge myself on is, at the end of the day, even if I don't like something, I understand that a human being made it at the end of the day, and like that that person, for the most part, deserves some grace.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it, but I was gonna say, like, for anybody that has tried to, commission a drawing or write a book or write a song, make an album, like, you understand how difficult that process is. So me having gone through that process does make me a little bit more gracious when a project comes out and it's something I don't like. Like, even if I don't enjoy it, my thought is, there was a process that went into this with a lot of people who value the quality of their work. So hats off to them. Like, I'm not finna go too hard on it. Like, it's not an easy process, and it has made me more gracious overall as far as how I consume, because the process of making it ain't no joke.
It's not, man. Like, people even don't know how hard it is to make a song, bro. Like, people don't know the time that goes into making music in general. Like, just any artistic thing. Like, it's a process. Like, people don't understand shit is a process. And, like, on a closing note, just value the artists, like, while they're here. Like, if all the, I hate to even talk about this, I'm glad it was like a hoax, or like I'm glad it was like not true, but like with the whole Jamie Foxx scare thing, like, Black people in general, I'm not gonna say like white people don't do this or like other races don't do this, but like, just like, Black people, like, hold your legends close and like give them their flowers while they're here. And there's some examples of people doing this, like, with, and I think this is the good of Twitter, like, like, you can have like niche communities of like interests. And like, for example, like, there was for a couple of weeks, there's been like a blog era page floating around on Twitter, and everybody has just been quoting it with songs that they love from the blog era and all that shit. And I loved it so much because it's kind of like, dang, we're still appreciating people while they're here. And like, even though on a mass scale we wish it wants to be bigger, there's still people that appreciate people that are still here with us. So letting them giving them their flowers while they still sell means out a lot. And like, Krit, for me personally, like, he is like beyond inspirational, because not only he goes from the same state as me, it's like the way he's worked, making his own beats, like rapping his own shit, making his own projects, all the other shit. And then like, on top of that, his coming out party being Mount Olympus. Like, hey dog, like, I ain't gonna lie to you, like, when I was in high school and shit, for the first time hearing that, I was like, what the hell has gotten into this? Y'all don't really piss this nigga off. It's like, bro, I was in class listening to that shit. Like, it was junior year of
So
it was junior year of high school, like the fall or some shit like that.
Yeah, it was like summer 2013.
And then I was
Somewhere
like, and then I was blown away at the Kendrick shit, by the way. I was like, damn, that was extremely exciting moment for hip hop. But when Krit came out with that shit, I was like, this nigga ate, because like, it's very hard to piss Krit off. Like, how you made out of all niggas in the earth, you made this nigga mad, and he quite easily had the best control response. Like, that's I'm not hearing
that's the thing, right? And that's what I enjoy the most about that. And you can tell that it was like out of respect. Like, it was like, Kendrick is my homie, somebody I've done songs with. Like, you could hear that in the song.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what made it so dope, man. It was just the fact that so many rappers were embracing the competitive spirit that Kendrick had when he put that out.
It was just a special moment, man. And like, it's a lot of moments. It's a lot of moments in hip hop I would love to revisit. Where like, I would love to relive hearing Control and then hear Krit response for the first time, and then hear all the other rappers respond. Like, I really would. But we gonna end the episode there. That was the first of the album discussion series. In the future, we'll definitely do more, and I'm gonna start trying to like do two, maybe one or two, at least 1 or 2 episodes a week. So like maybe one, maybe like one regular podcast episode and then another album discussion episode. But be easy, guys. Thank you guys for supporting me. I really appreciate y'all. Thank Jay for hopping on the episode. Other than that, we'll be back. We out.